In this section, we're going to go ahead and go over troubleshooting for the oxygen concentrator. If you believe that your machine is malfunctioning, first what you want to do is contact GAMI 24-hour on-call. Our on-call staff will also be able to help you on the phone. In this troubleshooting guide, we're going to go over some tips that may help you trying to troubleshoot your concentrator. One of the first things is to make sure that if you think your machine is not operating properly, is to make sure that it's plugged into a wall outlet. We never want to plug a concentrator into an extension cord at any time. If the wall outlet is plugged in securely and there's power to that wall outlet, the next thing that we'll do is be able to look at our tubing. You want to make sure that you can track your tubing down and bring in the tubing to make sure that the tubing has not been kinked or put into a knot in any way. One of the other indicators that helps us with a concentrator is to know where the ball is being provided at. This machine is giving oxygen out and lifting that ball up with the oxygen it produces. That ball is very important for us to know if the problem is from the machine out or within the machine. One of the most important things that I like to look at when the machine is operating is where the liters per minute is. The ball that is there letting us know how much oxygen we're getting is being suspended by the oxygen that the machine is producing. If the oxygen ball is all the way down or all the way up, the machine may alarm at that point. So it's very important to know where that ball is. One of the things that we can do is that while we're checking the tubing, we can remove the tubing by pulling and twisting. If you remove the tubing and the ball goes back up, the tubing is going to be your problem and needs to be replaced with new tubing and a new cannula at that point. If the ball is too high, you'll want to make sure to redirect the flow down, because that will also make the alarm on this machine go off. It's important to know that the machine has yellow and red lights to indicate what the problem may be. A 24-hour on-call technician will be able to talk you through this on the phone. You'll want to make sure to get on your portable oxygen concentrator if you are on oxygen 24 hours a day. In the meantime, some of the helpful hints that I might be able to give you are we want to make sure that the machine itself is properly plugged in. Once you've established that the unit is plugged in properly and it has power, then you can continue to the next quick help tip. Some of the items that we see and that we hear about from other customers is it might come across as saying that I don't feel like I'm getting enough air or I'm getting air. This can be easily remedied by being able to take the nasal cannula right here and putting it in some water to make sure that we can see some bubbles that come through. These bubbles allow us to know that oxygen is coming from the concentrator to the nasal cannula. Sometimes seeing this is better than it would be hearing it because oxygen doesn't have a smell and it's hard to feel. Also understand that the yellow light, if the yellow light comes on, it'll be followed by intermittent beeping. What this means is that there is a kink or a knot tied to the tubing. To be the fastest way to remedy this is to go ahead and remove the tubing from the concentrator, and within 30 seconds, if that alarm goes off, we know that the tubing is the culprit of that problem. Some of these simple areas of checking power, checking your nose piece, or checking connection are very helpful in making sure that your machine is going to operate properly. On-call staff and personnel will be able to assist you with these very questions, so understand that we're here for you. One of the other issues that may happen as far as a problem with the concentrator would be this humidifier bottle. If we've checked the cannula and we're not getting bubbles as we put it into water, another way of testing this would be is removing the tubing from the humidifier and placing your finger over this port. In a properly functioning humidifier, after a few seconds of putting my finger here, I should be able to hear a whoosh of oxygen that comes out. If I don't hear that whoosh, what I want to make sure is that I unscrew the lid and I go ahead and put the lid back on securely. But I don't want to have a cross thread. So it may be very important to make sure that you look that it's even all the way around. If you do not hear that whoosh, then what may happen is that it is cross-threaded. To cross-thread means that somebody who put the top on put it on in such a way that it made an angle. And if you notice, it still bubbles, but the oxygen is coming out the side. I can put my finger over here and no whoosh of oxygen. To fix this, what I would want to do is I would go ahead and disconnect my humidifier from the concentrator entirely, and then I would just go ahead and put my tubing directly to the concentrator. I can test that this worked by being able to suppress or to submerge my nasal cannula into a cup of water to see if it bubbles. If bubbling occurs, your problem is with the humidifier. If you've continued to have problems with your concentrator and you've tried fixing it with the way we discussed for your humidifier, but you still see yellow or red lights, it's very important that you call us immediately for our on-call staff. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you.